portfolio of real estate. Now, typically on a $5 million package of assets, you would make at 0.5%, $25,000. That's what 0.5% is on 5 million. If, on the other hand, it is only a $2.5 million in assets, you would make half of that. All right, so you're at around $12,000. All right, still a great payday, no matter how you look at it. All right, so this is typical of our commission structure here. Now, in addition to this, some of you are in here and you're building teams. Some of you have built some very significant teams. And whenever any of your team members close one, you also get an override percentage of what they did. So you're actually leveraging their work and their efforts. And there you make $2,000 per 5 million. So the team member may make $25,000, but you're going to make a $2,000 override on that simply because you happen to be in the right place at the right time and brought somebody in on the program that went out there and did exactly what we're instructing them to do. Conversely, this is paid on a prorated basis. So if the tape was $2.5 million, then you would be paid $1,000, etc. Well, that's the Asset Finder program. We've got some new additions also coming up to that program because we now have companies that are wanting to buy these assets from the banks, and they're coming to us to say, hey, we heard you have all this manpower across the country out there going to these local banks, and we don't have time to do that. We don't have staff to be able to do that. That's not what we want. We just want to buy the assets. And so can you give us those tapes? And the answer to them is yes, if you pay us the override. So we're looking for the override from them as well. So our goal here is to become their answer to their problem. Their problem is they can't get into all these local banks, and they don't have the time to make the calls and the follow-up and do all that. So this is what we have created out there, and literally every day we have literally millions and millions of dollars of assets flowing in here. So if you want to be part of that, this is the program that you're able to have access to as a platinum member. Again, you're still picking up our short sell and private funds program, where we'll fund you to go out there and flip a home out there. If you can start to develop, and we'll be teaching coming up how to develop buyers for even the REO packages, we'll even fund you on that side. Right now we have several people that we're funding. Today we sent out approvals for in excess of somewhere between $25 and $50 million on a portfolio. The individual has lined up the buyers. They've got the buyers for $25 million at a time in assets. Now I know some of this can be right over your head and scary, but here's what's going to happen to you. You're going to go out there and you start calling banks, and you go out there and you start making contacts online, and you've got people approaching you now, asking you, hey, what about this and how can I do this? And so now you can get in the middle of some of these deals. This is how you grow out there. You make contacts, and before you know it, you can be doing some fairly large deals if you go out there and start learning the business. And right now is the time to get in there and start learning the business itself. This is a new business. This has not been here before. Well, at least recently. I actually developed this program back in the 90s, back when the RTC was alive and well and auctioning off properties, and I ran basically the same kind of program back then. And we had plenty of buyers back then. They didn't want to go through all the trouble of sifting through all those auction properties, so that we would do it for them and provide them a package, and they would pay, back then they were paying us 1%, which was pretty nice. Well, we're just basically doing it again, and until these banks can dump all this property, which might not be for, I'll make one other point. Every month and every 2 months or 3 months for some of these banks, they develop a whole new tape. Some of them who haven't had any properties before, never had this problem, are having this problem today. So this is a time when you can get involved in a new industry that has cropped up. By the way, it is a green industry, all right, because we're just using the phone to put these deals together. And you can go out there and learn and grow within this new industry. This is where the money is being made. There's people making big money right now because of this giant meltdown out there. And you definitely want to be on the right side of that. And we're putting together the programs to make sure that our members are on the right side of the economic situation out there, where you can capitalize on it and help the country at the same time. Here's a problem. If these banks don't sell these properties, these banks don't short sell the properties, here's what happens. And it's very bad for our country when this happens. Then it goes into the foreclosure process. They take back the home, and now if they can't get rid of it using an asset program like what we've got here, they have no choice except to go ahead and auction them off. Usually it's a pre-assigned type auction. Some of these banks are having to let properties go at 10 cents on the dollar. Folks, when you let property go for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, that means some investor out there is picking up these properties. Of course, they're doing it by the thousands. Some of these banks are dropping 1,000 homes on the market to one investor who's buying at that kind of deep discount. Well, what does that investor do? Well, he just goes out there and sells it for anything. And what happens is it brings down everybody's property values in that area when these properties go and they just basically are vacant out there, and they just turn the whole area into a minefield of disaster. All right, so by utilizing these programs, we're helping the economy out there, trying to get to these things before the worst happens. And that is what the worst is happening. And one thing on the side note, I'd love to see this occur. It's not anywhere, and I don't know if it's going to occur, but FHA needs to somehow, at some point here, get rid of that 90-day seasoning requirement that they have on FHA buyers. They could do so much to put this economy back together if they got rid of that stupid policy that they have. It was needed back in the heyday when properties were going through the roof. That's not the situation anymore. There's not any reason for that to be on there, and they are stopping cold. So many investors out there are flipping to people who have FHA approvals because you just simply can't do that right now. And that would take a big relief off of these foreclosures. Well, with that said, let me show you how you can join our system here and get started with us. You can come in at 3 different levels. We have free level, and I put a free level out there because I believe in giving everybody a fair chance of getting started in your business. And if you're absolutely broke or you just got rolled over on this big problem that's out there, you can come aboard and work your way up into a paying position. I've been there. I got rolled over by the system in 1987, lost everything. So I always have some kind of option available for people in those situations. We have a medium area. You can come in at $297 as a gold member, and that will give you access to our lease option flip course and our internet marketing course that will show you how to go out there and promote this so you can start working your way up into a better paying position at Platinum. And Platinum is where you want to be. That's where you have full access to our using our Asset Finder program, using our short sale private funds, our REO private funds, and our even our bulk REO funds program, because we'll finance, not finance, but we'll put up money up to $50 million packages out there, and where you have access to the inverse purchase that we talked about, and our other courses and ongoing training every Wednesday. In fact, coming up in 1 hour from now, we'll be on the phone training again this week on some aspect of one of these businesses. Now, next week, we already have scheduled, we have our title company people coming in for an interview. They love us.